In the soft glow of early morning light, the great palace of Versailles begins to stir, its gilded halls waiting to embrace another day under the watchful eye of the Sun King. Louis XIV, a monarch whose reign stretched over 7 decades, transformed not only the political landscape of France, but also the very idea of royal grandeur. His court was a world unto itself, a shimmering stage where power, art, and ceremony intertwined with delicate precision. Within this magnificent sphere, a unique and essential group of women held a place of quiet influence: the ladies-in-waiting. These women were far more than mere attendants. They were the trusted companions and confidants of queens and princesses, weaving their presence into the fabric of court life. To serve as a lady-in-waiting was to inhabit a role filled with both privilege and subtle obligation. A delicate dance of duty and desire played out against a backdrop of sumptuous tapestries and glittering chandeliers. Their lives offer a gentle window into the rhythms of a world that was at once dazzling and demanding, where every gesture held meaning and every glance could ripple with unspoken messages. As the palace awakens, so too does the day begin for these women, whose mornings are steeped in ritual and careful preparation. The intricate routines of fashion and grooming are not merely about appearance, but serve as a language of status and allegiance. From the smooth sweep of silk gowns to the delicate art of coiffure, every detail is considered with meticulous care. It is here, in these quiet hours before the court assembles, that the ladies-in-waiting find themselves at the crossroads of personal identity and public performance. Yet, beneath the layers of lace and the shimmer of pearls, life at court is alive with subtle currents of power and companionship. The relationships between these women and their royal mistresses, as well as among themselves, form a delicate web of loyalty and rivalry. Friendships are forged in whispered conversations and shared confidences, while alliances shift like shadows in the light of royal favor. Navigating this intricate social dance requires both grace and wit, qualities that the ladies-in-waiting cultivate with quiet determination. Their duties extend beyond the social. They are the ever-present support in moments both grand and intimate. Whether assisting in the elaborate ceremonies that mark the rhythm of court life or delivering messages laden with political significance, the ladies-in-waiting embody a blend of service and subtle influence. The privileges they enjoy, a front-row seat to history, proximity to power, are tempered by sacrifices that often go unnoticed. Time and again, their stories reveal a balance of honor and hardship, a testament to their enduring strength in a world that both elevates and confines them. As these threads weave together, the life of a lady-in-waiting at the court of Louis XIV emerges not just as a tale of opulence, but as a nuanced portrait of identity, ambition, and resilience. Their presence colors the grand tapestry of Versailles with shades of quiet dignity and whispered intrigue, reminding us that behind the brilliance of the Sun King's reign lay countless lives, lived in the delicate interplay of light and shadow. And so, as we step gently into this world, let us begin by exploring those soft morning moments, the rituals and rhythms that shaped the day for these remarkable women, where elegance was crafted with care, and the stage was set for the unfolding drama of life beneath the gilded ceilings. Step back into the gilded halls of Versailles, subscribe now, and uncover the secrets of life as a lady-in-waiting. The world in which these ladies awoke each day was unlike any other, a world shaped by the vision and ambition of one man, Louis XIV, the Sun King. His reign, stretching over 7 decades, was a symphony of power and artistry, meticulously orchestrated to reflect the absolute glory of monarchy. At the heart of this grand performance stood the Palace of Versailles, a sprawling marvel of architecture and landscape that transformed humble hunting lodges into a shimmering palace of dreams and authority. Versailles was more than just stone and marble. It was a living organism pulsing with the rhythms of court life, where every corridor echoed with the footsteps of nobles and courtiers, and every garden bloom seemed to mirror the delicate politics played out beneath the gilded chandeliers. Here, Louis XIV reigned not only as king, but as the very embodiment of divine right. His court was a stage on which every gesture and glance was laden with meaning, and every day brought a new scene in the endless ballet of ceremony and spectacle. It was within this dazzling realm that the ladies-in-waiting moved gracefully, their lives intertwined with the splendor and the strict codes that defined Versailles. Their role was unique, part companion, part confidant, part performer, each entrusted with both privilege and expectation. These women, often drawn from noble families, found themselves at the nexus of power and femininity, where their presence added both color and consequence to the regal tapestry. The grandeur of Versailles itself was a constant reminder of the stakes involved. Vast halls adorned with golden mirrors and intricate frescoes framed the daily rituals, while the gardens, with their manicured hedges and ornate fountains, offered moments of quiet reflection amid the hustle of court affairs. The very air seemed infused with a sense of magnificence, an ever-present glow that made even the smallest detail, be it a ribbon, a fan, or a whispered secret, feel significant. Yet beneath this glittering surface lay the intricacies of life, lived in service to the king and queen. Every gesture was measured, every word carefully chosen. The ladies-in-waiting knew that their comportment was not merely about grace, but about survival and influence. Their days began with the first light, as the palace slowly stirred to life, and the delicate balance of etiquette and ambition began anew. In this world where artifice and authenticity danced together, the roles of these women were as much about presence as performance. They were the eyes and ears of their mistresses, the conduits through which information flowed, and the silent architects of alliances and rivalries alike. Their very being was woven into the rhythm of Versailles, making their existence both a privilege and a profound responsibility. As the morning sun filtered through the grand windows, casting soft patterns on polished floors, it was these quiet moments of preparation that set the tone for the wise unfolding drama. Each lady-in-waiting would don attire crafted with painstaking care, a silent language of silk, lace, and embroidery that spoke volumes before a single word was uttered. Fashion was not frivolity here. It was a statement of status and allegiance, a shield and a weapon in the subtle contests of the court. This delicate preparation, often tedious and exacting, formed the backdrop to the lively social dance that awaited them. Yet, even within these routines, there was a certain poetry, a rhythm that, once mastered, allowed these women to move with an elegance that seemed almost effortless. And as their day began in the grand setting of Versailles, each lady-in-waiting stepped forward into a world where history and myth blended seamlessly, where every moment held the potential for glory or downfall. The story of life at the Sun King's court, then, is not merely one of dazzling spectacle, but of daily acts of devotion and strategy, where the grandeur of Versailles shaped not only the kingdom, but the very souls who served within its walls. And from these beginnings shaped by the reign of Louis XIV and the luminous world he created, we drift gently into the rhythms of daily life, the rituals and routines that crafted the elegance seen by so many, yet known intimately by so few. Amidst the towering mirrors and shimmering chandeliers of Versailles, the ladies-in-waiting occupied a realm uniquely their own, a delicate intersection between privilege and servitude, power and vulnerability. They were more than mere attendants. They were confidants, ornaments, and subtle influencers in a court where every gesture carried weight. These women, often drawn from noble families, stepped into roles that demanded impeccable grace and unwavering loyalty, yet also offered glimpses of influence rarely afforded to women of their era. To be a lady-in-waiting was to be enrolled in an intricate dance of obligation and opportunity. Their presence was essential not only to the physical care of the queen or princess they attended, but also to the rhythm of court life itself. They managed the intimate details of attire, helped navigate social expectations, and served as intermediaries in the labyrinth of court politics. Their position was prestigious, a mark of noble favor, but it was also a delicate balancing act. One misstep could mean social exile or worse. The selection of these ladies was no accident. Families coveted such appointments, recognizing the doors it opened to influence and advancement. Yet, acceptance into this elite circle came with rules that shaped every aspect of their existence. A lady-in-waiting's day unfolded according to the rigid protocols established by the king's court, where even moments of leisure were orchestrated with precision. Their proximity to royalty granted them access to whispered confidences and secret glances, but it also placed them under constant scrutiny. The court itself was a stage, and the ladies-in-waiting were among its most crucial players. They moved through vast corridors adorned with gilded carvings and rich tapestries, their silken gowns whispering softly against marble floors. Each interaction was a performance, governed by etiquette so exacting it seemed almost a language of its own. To master this was to survive and thrive. To falter was to become invisible, or worse, a subject of gossip and suspicion. Within this gilded sphere, relationships among the ladies themselves were woven with complexity. Friendships blossomed amid shared confidences about hopes and anxieties, yet rivalries simmered beneath polite smiles. The court was a web of alliances, where influence could shift like sunlight through stained glass. In this environment, a lady-in-waiting's ability to read nuance and navigate subtle power plays was as vital as her beauty or breeding. Their unique position also meant they bore witness to the intimate moments of the royal family, morning rituals, private councils, and quiet exchanges behind closed doors. Such glimpses into the personal lives of kings and queens were both a privilege and a responsibility, demanding discretion and loyalty. The ladies' presence served to reinforce the majesty of the monarchy, their poised demeanor reflecting the cultivated splendor of the era. Yet, beneath the polished surface, the life of a lady-in-waiting was not without its sacrifices. The demands of service often meant long hours and the surrender of personal desires. Marriages and motherhood might be deferred or shaped by the necessities of court duty. Their identities became entwined with those they served, blending personal ambition with public expectation in a delicate mosaic. In this way, the ladies-in-waiting embodied the very essence of Louis XIV's court, a world where appearance and reality intertwined, where every smile and gesture were laden with meaning. They were both participants and observers, shaping and shaped by the dazzling spectacle that was Versailles. Their stories, though often overshadowed by the grandeur of kings and queens, offer a quietly profound glimpse into the human dimension of this extraordinary epoch. From this vantage point, we move forward gently into the cadence of their daily lives, the meticulous rituals that defined their mornings, the endless preparations that transformed each woman into a living emblem of courtly grace. It is here, in these intimate details, that the true texture of life as a lady-in-waiting begins to unfold, revealing the delicate artistry behind the splendor. As dawn's soft light gently filtered through the towering windows of Versailles, the palace stirred to life in a symphony of quiet elegance. For the ladies-in-waiting, the day began long before the sun claimed the sky, their mornings governed by a rhythm both exacting and unyielding. In these early moments, the palace's lavish splendor seemed almost hushed, as if holding its breath to witness the unfolding of intricate rituals that transformed each woman into a living symbol of grace and refinement. Each lady-in-waiting awoke to a delicate choreography of preparation, an intimate dance of brushes and powders, ribbons and lace. The morning was not merely a time for dressing, but a sacred rite of passage into the world of courtly appearance, where every detail mattered. Perfumed waters scented the air as attendants arranged hair into towering coiffures, each curl and ribbon carefully set to flatter the face of the young woman who would be presented to royalty. Mirrors, gilded and grand, reflected not just faces but the weight of expectations resting softly upon slender shoulders. Fashion in this gilded world was far more than mere clothing. It was language, a subtle code that communicated status, allegiance, and taste without uttering a single word. The ladies-in-waiting donned sumptuous silks and velvets, embroidered with threads of gold and silver, their skirts rustling like whispers as they moved through the marble corridors. Each gown was a masterpiece, the result of hours spent in the care of skilled seamstresses, who labored to ensure that every fold and seam accentuated the wearer's poise and elegance. The act of dressing became a meditation on beauty and discipline, a reminder that to serve at Louis XIV's court was to embody the very essence of refinement. Yet amidst this splendor, there was also a certain quiet humor woven into the daily routine. The countless layers of clothing, the rigid posture demanded during fittings, and the endless application of makeup could feel like an elaborate performance rehearsed to perfection. One might imagine a lady-in-waiting stifling a giggle behind her fan as she balanced precariously on heels specially designed to elevate her stature, but complicate even the simplest of steps. In these moments, the grandeur of Versailles softened into something almost human, an acknowledgement that beneath the glimmering surface, these women navigated the same follies and frustrations as anyone else. Their mornings were punctuated by precise etiquette, the measured grace with which they greeted one another, the subtle curtsies exchanged in shadowed halls, and the hushed conversations that carried the weight of alliances and whispered secrets. Every gesture was laden with meaning, a silent language that spoke volumes in the court's delicate social tapestry. It was a world where a glance could conceal ambition, and a smile might mask rivalry. Yet beneath it all lay the shared understanding of their unique and privileged place within the Sun King's orbit. As the sun climbed higher, the ladies-in-waiting completed their transformations and prepared to step into the luminous gaze of the royal household. Their roles were not merely decorative. They were the living threads that wove together the intricate fabric of court life. With each carefully measured step, they moved between public ceremony and private confidences, balancing presence and discretion as deftly as the artisans who crafted their gowns. This intimate portrait of their mornings opens a doorway into a larger world, one filled with intricate social dynamics, subtle power plays, and the enduring quest to find identity amidst the grandeur. From the stillness of these early hours, the day would unfold into a delicate dance of relationships and responsibilities, each moment a brushstroke in the grand canvas of Versailles. And so, with the morning rituals complete, the ladies-in-waiting stepped forward into the vibrant pulse of court life, where every encounter held the promise of friendship or rivalry, and every smile was a thread woven into the delicate pattern of influence. It is within these social currents that their stories deepen, revealing the true complexity of their existence beneath the gilded ceilings and shimmering chandeliers. Within the ornate halls of Versailles, time seemed to flow according to an unspoken rhythm, one measured not only by the striking of the grand clocks, but by the subtle choreography of countless hands preparing for each day's unfolding drama. For a lady-in-waiting, this rhythm was both a guide and a gentle insistence, a reminder that elegance and etiquette were not mere adornments, but essential disciplines in the art of courtly existence. As dawn gave way to morning light filtering softly through tall windows, the ladies began their transformation from noble women to embodiments of grace and poise. Their routines were painstakingly detailed, a delicate balance between necessity and performance. The process of dressing was itself a ceremony, often lasting hours, where silk and satin, lace and ribbons were brought to life by skilled hands. Corsets were tightened, not just to shape the body, but to mold the very posture that signified rank and refinement. The rustle of fine fabrics became a whispered symphony, punctuated by the gentle clinks of jewelry and the faint scent of lavender and rosewater that lingered in the air. Every strand of hair was arranged with care, often powdered to a pale, ethereal hue, mirroring the porcelain complexion that was so highly prized. The ladies would lean close to mirrors, framed in gold leaf, their faces serene but focused, preparing to meet the day with an expression both composed and welcoming. Makeup, subtle touches of rouge on the cheeks, delicately tinted lips, was applied with the precision of an artist, enhancing features without overshadowing the natural dignity expected at court. Yet, beneath this surface of effortless beauty lay an intricate web of etiquette governing every gesture and glance. The mornings were punctuated by lessons and rehearsals, how to curtsy properly, the correct way to present oneself before the king or queen, the precise timing of when to speak and when to listen. These were not mere formalities, but essential skills that could open doors or, if mismanaged, close them forever. The ladies-in-waiting were constantly alert, their senses finely attuned to the nuances of courtly communication. Amidst the grandeur, the repetition of these rituals could sometimes feel endless, bordering on the tedious. One might imagine the quiet sighs exchanged behind fans, or the discreet glances shared during the more monotonous moments of undressing and redressing. But such moments were woven with a subtle humor, a shared understanding that beneath the layers of silk and ceremony, They were young women navigating a world as demanding as it was dazzling. Fashion, after all, was more than vanity. It was a language spoken fluently at Versailles. The choice of color, the cut of a gown, even the height of a headdress could signal alliances, ambitions, or allegiances. The ever-changing trends demanded constant attention, with ladies competing silently to be both admired and remembered. In this way, the endless preparation was also an act of survival, a daily investment in visibility and favor that could shape their futures. The morning rituals would eventually give way to the midday activities, where the fabrics and faces, polished to perfection, would meet the eyes of the royal family and the wider court. But before stepping into that vibrant world, there was still the quiet moment of reflection, a pause to gather the strength and composure required to dance the intricate steps of court life with grace. And so, as the ladies in waiting finished their preparations, they stood poised at the threshold of another day, ready to weave their stories into the sprawling tapestry of Versailles, where every gesture was a note in the symphony of power and elegance. It was here, in these carefully crafted routines, that their lives, at once enchanting and exacting, began to reveal the profound dedication behind the shimmering surface. The morning's rituals, though painstaking, were but the prelude to the complex social web that awaited them, where friendships could bloom as swiftly as rivalries, and where every smile had its weight in gold and whispers. In this delicate balance of appearance and interaction, the true essence of life as a lady-in-waiting began to unfold.